Hi there. These comments are for AS. You're one of my students in my online TOEFL course, the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. And you have paid me to error correct one of your independent writing practice tests. And I'm reading it right now. So right now I'm putting you right around 3.75 out of 5 or 24 points out of 30 on this. So I think for the most part, I'm going to put you at the, if you look at 3, it says you have some problems with sentence formation and word choice. I think that is part of it. Using somewhat developed explanations, examples, probably you can develop the introduction a little bit more. So overall, I think it's a pretty good essay, and your body paragraphs are very well developed. So that's a good thing. Okay, let's look. So you say, we encounter many advertisements every day. Let's change this to consumers. Consumers encounter many advertisements every day, such as, maybe here, the ones on TV. Although some people trust them, I'm going to change this to do not am not. I do not trust them. In other words, I agree with the idea that most advertisements cannot be believed because we do not know whether or not they tell the truth. And whether companies describe whether or not companies tell the truth, and whether or not these businesses describe, I'm going to change this to their products or services honestly. Right? So be careful about using too many pronouns in there. It's better to use more specific nouns. Now the other thing here is your introduction. Overall, let's take a look at what we have for the whole thing. I think we can develop the introduction a little bit more. So I think you're right around your 368 words, which is good. And you did that in just 2 body paragraphs, which is impressive. But I still think you need to develop this first paragraph a little bit more, right? Just maybe, I encourage my students to have closer to about 100 words. So you're 55. So let's develop this this first paragraph just a little bit more. I'll show you what you can do. In the first paragraph, I'm going to show you how you can expand the first paragraph to raise a topic a little bit more. And then you get to your thesis here. So I think you got to your thesis a little too quickly. So you could say consumers encounter many advertisements every day, such as the ones on TV. Marketers representing large corporations such as Walmart, Costco, The Gap, among a few, spend millions of dollars trying to convince consumers that they need and will benefit from buying these products. In some cases, these massive entities may attempt to mislead the public about the effectiveness or quality of these products through advertising campaigns. Although some people trust the ads and buy the products as a result, I do not. In other words, I agree with the idea that most advertisements cannot be believed because we do not know whether or not the companies tell the truth and whether these businesses describe their products or services honestly. So what are we doing here? I'm adding, if you notice, you're using sometimes too many pronouns. You want to be more specific with the words you're using. So I started it off with consumers. Then I use the word marketers. Then I talk about large corporations here. And again, I use consumers and then products. And to refer back to companies, I use the word massive entities. And then I talk about advertising campaigns. So this helps to, the more specific you are with the language you're using, the better I think it is your argument. So that's kind of the changes I made to your first paragraph, right? All right, let's keep going here. So you say, first, I do not trust many advertisements because they tell, I would say here, tell lies, not a lie. And who is they? So this is what you want. This is unclear pronoun referent. What if you said marketing executives? And you want to say not, you want to say it's and not there, not it's, right? So again, this is a pronoun agreement issue. I want you to write this down. This is something I want you to look at. So go to the internet. Here's the key words: pronoun agreement issues in academic writing. And because you said they in the beginning, then you say it's. That didn't work very well. So I do not trust many advertisements because marketing executives tell lies to increase their profits. For instance, many types of honey are available. You want to use in grocery markets in the U.S., and some of the labels put an image of bees only. They put an image of bees to help promote the sales. It says, however, when you look at the back of the bottle, their honey is not pure honey and contains various sweeteners such as corn or rice syrup. These companies make profits by adding other ingredients and increasing the volume of honey. I would say here to increase the volume of honey. And that is a very good example. This is very good. This is where you're doing very well with your writing. You say another example is McDonald's Japan. You can say here, which faked. That is a language use problem. So is McDonald's Japan, which faked the origin of its food. The company broadcasted the commercial saying that McDonald's used only safe chicken from Japan, yet a few years ago it turned out that the company imported the chicken in a poor condition from China due to its low price. This is another case why we should not trust advertisements. And that is good. There's nothing really I need to do here. I do not need to add any details. You did a really good job on this one. How many words do we have here? 146. Nothing that we need to do. Now, if you want to really be impressive, if you want to show a little bit more depth of writing, instead of using two examples, the example of honey and the example of McDonald's in Japan, just focus on the honey example and then spend more time developing just that one example for just this one paragraph. And that gives you even more depth and complexity of thought to the writing. In the next paragraph, you say, second, many companies write only good things about. I would say you're missing something here about their products in their advertisements. Okay, here's another one. I want you to go to Google. The prepositions in and on, right? So you need to get some sample sentences so you can understand a little bit more. So how to use in and on prepositions in English grammar. Those are the key words I want you to use at Google to research more about that. Say, and this is a reason why I do not believe in advertisements. I would say in many advertisements. To illustrate this point, the German car company in the U.S. advertised only positive features of, I'm going to say, of their cars. I'm going to say these cars could save a lot of gas compared to others. I'm going to change this to supposedly. Yeah, I'm putting that in there. So these supposedly energy efficient and environmentally friendly cars became popular quickly. However, American people began to realize that the company did not mention the negative effects. And we said cars, right? Of these vehicles, which was usually serious damage. You're using damage. Damage we're using more as a countdown here, which was serious damage to the environment. Okay, another case is maybe some frozen products sold in Japan. The advertisement said that company only used healthy oil to cook maybe the foods. So these items became popular because people wanted to eat healthily. On the contrary, the food was not healthy at all. The company intentionally removed the data I'm going to say highlighting the low quality of the food itself. No commas needed here. From ads and labels. These cases prove subject-verb agreement. So these cases prove why most advertisements should not be believed. Okay, so let's take a look at the last. So therefore, a majority of the advertisements cannot be trusted because of the scams and too much emphasis on the bright side misleading advertising campaigns, right? Okay, so let's go over it one more time. I think that we're pretty much almost there with it. And I think vocabulary is one of the things that you want to work on based on your response to this independent speaking task. And also pronouns and unclear pronoun reference and things. You want to be much more specific in many cases with the words you're using. That's one of my advices, or one of my pieces of advice to you to help you improve your writing score. So I think it's possible you might be able to get 375 on it, or 24 points out of 30, or maybe even 35. Maybe it's slightly lower. All right? I'm going over the essay one more time. We'll make a few more corrections, and then I will do an overall assessment of your independent writing based on the response that you sent me. Consumers encounter many advertisements every day, such as the ones on TV. Marketers representing large corporations such as Walmart, Costco, and The Gap, among a few, spend millions of dollars trying to convince customers that they need and will benefit from buying these products. In some cases, these massive entities may attempt to mislead the public about the effectiveness or quality of these products through advertising campaigns. Although some people trust the ads and buy the products as a result, I do not. In other words, I agree with the idea that most advertisements cannot be believed because we do not know whether or not these companies tell the truth and whether these businesses describe their products or services honestly. And I'm not going to use whether or not, just whether they, and that's a little bit more parallel. All right, first, I do not trust many advertisements because marketing executives tell lies to increase their profits. For instance, many types of honey are available in grocery markets in the U.S., and some of the labels put an image of bees to help promote their sales. However, when I look at the back of the bottle, their honey is not pure honey and contains various sweeteners, such as corn or rice syrup. These companies make profits by adding other ingredients to increase the volume of honey. Another example is McDonald's Japan, which faked the origin of its foods. The company, and I think broadcast does it's an irregular verb. It's broadcast, base form. The simple past is broadcast, and the past participle is broadcast. So the company broadcast the commercial saying that McDonald's used only saved chicken from Japan, yet a few years ago it turned out that the company imported the chicken in a poor condition from China due to its low price. This is another case why we should not trust advertisements. Second, many companies write only good things about their products in their advertisements, and this is the reason why I do not believe in many advertisements. To illustrate this point, the German car company in the U.S. advertised only positive features of their cars. According to their ads, these companies could save a lot of gas compared to others. Thus, these supposedly energy efficient and environmentally friendly cars became popular quickly. However, American people began to realize that the company did not mention the negative effects of these vehicles, which was serious damage to the environment. Another case are some frozen products sold in Japan. The advertisement said that the company only used healthy oil to cook the foods, so these items became popular because people wanted to eat healthy. On the contrary, they wanted to eat health. I'm going to change this to an adverb. They wanted to eat healthily. On the contrary, the food was not healthy at all. The company intentionally removed the data highlighting the low quality of the food itself from ads and labels. These cases prove why most advertisements should not be believed. Therefore, a majority of the advertisements cannot be trusted because of the scams and too much emphasis on the bright side of the products sold by many misleading advertising campaigns. And there it is. So let's go into my website now, and I'm going to make some suggestions. I'm looking at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT, and I'm now going to recommend some specific lessons I think that can help you. So first of all, you rely a little bit too heavily on pronouns, and that kind of implies that you have some vocabulary limitations. Am I right? So I'm going to recommend that you focus at least some of your study on vocabulary lesson number 4, lesson number 5, and lesson number 6. And that can help you to expand your vocabulary. Okay, let's go to the grammar part of my course. You're already focusing in these areas, I think, based on the integrated writing you submitted the other day. But I think lesson 6, again, adjective clauses, I think you want to pay some attention to. Another lesson, so that, what is that? Lesson number, you might want to write these down. Lesson number 6. Count and non-count nouns, right? So you want to take a look at that. Lesson 16. Prepositions, lesson number 21. You remember in versus on. Also articles, a, and the. You can take a look at that. You can also go to Google and find some other websites if you want more specific explanation of those things. I think lesson 28, when to use commas, when not to use commas. You can take a look at that. Okay, now let's go into the writing section of the course. Let me see if there's anything in here that you can take a look at. Yeah, maybe lesson 5.5 and lesson 5.6, writing the perfect paragraph. And also how to show depth and complexity of thought to your ideas. I think that would also help you. But overall, I mean, like I said, you have a good organization, I think. You understand how to make things connect. But you want to do something, it's called repeating or rephrasing key ideas, not just using exactly the same word. You'll see that those ideas taught in writing lesson number 8. It's called How to Make Your Writing More Coherent. You can take a look at that lesson too. And I think that's it. So what do we do? So I took your essay, which was good, which was maybe around 375 out of 5 or 24 points out of 30, and I rewrote it so that it will now score 5.5 out of 5 or 30 points out of 30. So these are the changes that you need to make, I think, in your independent writing right now in order to improve. All right, so I hope that you found this video helpful. The good thing is you're moving in the right direction. You have very strong writing proficiency. With a few more minor changes, I think you should be able to get, between 28 and 30 points on the independent writing task.